All right. So, how did you and your wife meet?
Well, me and my wife met in the summer at a sports camp.
Yeah.
She was a dance teacher. I was a camp counselor.
Where was that?
So Portland State University.
Yeah.
So it was a camp called NYSP. It was basically like social service work.
Good.
Just a camp that was basically towards inner city or low income families to kind of
Okay.
get those kids exposed to being on the college campus, kind of
Good.
broaden their horizons, things of that nature
Excellent.
through ways of sport.
And you saw her, you were like, hey.
Sorry, what? See, that was see when I first saw her, like it was just like, oh yeah, that's a new dance teacher. Because I've been doing the camp for like years and working, and I was like,
okay.
oh, that's the new dance teacher. I was like, oh yeah, she's cute, but
Yeah.
didn't think too much about it. And it's a funny story, but it has some serious context
Sure.
to it. But when she came in and she had a cast on her arm, and I was like, me and my boys kind of joking, like, how the dance teacher gonna have a broken arm?
Sure,
What's going on with
sure.
that? So I mean, that's the way we like first like initially met with each other and
Just checking on her.
yeah, just checking on her, and so there was good working relationship or whatnot. I was like, oh, she's really cool people, and then eventually we became like just friends, really.
Yeah.
Found out that she, was really into dance as far as like choreography and stuff like that, and doing more so. So we had a music group at the time. We were like, hey, well, we have this music, would you mind making up like dances, to the tracks and like having like 2 or 3 other people with you and you kind of choreographing and stuff like that. So she started doing that, and then like that's how she started being around like just the family and stuff like that. And so yeah, still wasn't like really just like she's just a new cool person.
Yeah.
Invited her out to the church, different things of that nature.
So she started going to church with you guys then?
Yes.
Good.
So yeah, she started going to the church. Yep. Because I
Would
think
that be your official date? Was that it?
I guess it was a gateway. I guess when I look back at it, I think at the time that wasn't the intention. I think it just was like, this is a real cool person. She wasn't. There was a church that she was going to before, but not really like faithfully.
Sure.
And so 2 of us, it was 3 of us in the group. 2 of us went to the same church. We were just like, hey, why don't you just come visit?
Yeah.
And so then it just became like, oh, she just kept coming. I don't even think she ever officially joined.
Sure.
I think she just like,
That's home right
just
there.
just home, just coming in home, just coming in home. And so that's basically where it started. So we ended up going to like California one time just to minister our music group did. And so she, she went along with us and everything in that nature. And at the time I was like, well, why did you say yes to coming to like California and stuff like that? She was like, well, you guys asked me on the week of her the anniversary of her mother's death or whatnot. And so she just was like, you know what, I've never been. And, I didn't know she was dealing with some trauma things on the inside at this time. We were just like, so we invited her. She said, yes, she came. Crazy, great experience. A lot of prophetic things happened at the service. And I remember us having and still no like attraction at this time. And I remember just sitting down in this room, me, her, and the other person in our group, and like she just was just talking, and all of a sudden she just began to just talk about like her life.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, it was like about like 3-4 hours.
Wow.
And I remember like sitting this like I was watching a movie. It was like she was talking a movie. Like I could picture her. I was picturing her childhood. I was picturing what happened with her mother. I was picturing what happened with her and her siblings. And like she just kind of just went all the way through. And that's when I got context about like the broken arm. She actually was leaving an abusive relationship. And so like I got all this information, and just like all of a sudden just epiphany came at the end of the conversation. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I like her. I was like, I didn't even know, like, where'd that come from? So I'm just kind of like, oh, man, I gotta get out this room a little bit, man. I think I made up an excuse to, like, walk to a store or something like that. Like, man, wait a minute. I need to go ponder for a minute.
That's awesome.
And so, that's how we met. And I told her, I said, I talked to one of my friends. I said, hey, man, I think I really, I like her, man. Like, how should I express? I feel like I was, like, in high school. So he's like, make him an excuse to take her to the store and just tell her. I was like, man, I wanted something deep and philosophical, man. That's all you could give me was just tell her. So we drove, and this is in California, so I don't really know how to get to the stores or anything like that. But I'm just like, I just want to drive with her anyway. And so she came, and I remember telling her, hey, I think I like you.
Aww.
And she didn't respond to say anything, so we kept driving. I'm just like, I was just saying, just let you know that I think she said, oh, I heard you. And I asked her, I said, well, what do you think about that? She was just like, oh, that's nice, but I'm not really, there right now or interested in you or that. And I was like, oh. I said, okay. So she let me down real easy, and so that's how we met. Came back to the town, still continued to be friends, and then eventually just began to grow to something else. And then I wasn't even at the place spiritually mature enough to be at a place where we should have even been engage into a relationship at that time. And so, but I was just like, oh man, I'm attracted to her, but there's some things I need to get rid of, you know, because I was engaged before, but it had been like 2 years ago, but I never took the time to get healed from that. And then the same time I was going through what I was going through, she was in an abusive relationship. So we both were in these different places separate from each other.
Yes.
And so was dealing with some different, you know, trauma things at the same time. And then like, we met each other, and it was like I didn't do my job as far as like my healing process. Matter of fact, what my broken off engagement did was cause me to I don't want to put it on that. I made a decision to back away from church, you know, and I was just now coming back to get back into my faith when I met her. And so yeah, man, got into a lot of lustful relationships, you know, after that relationship, being engaged. And so I was coming out of that, and then it was like as I'm coming out of that, I met her, you know, I mean, I wasn't fully being healed yet. And so that caused me to cause some hurt in the attempts of being able to court each other. And so, but yeah, once we kind of got all that settled, and I remember she said, you know what, this back and forth, this different thing. She sat down one day, she said, we are ruining what this is supposed to be. And I remember thinking to myself, like, well, what is this actually supposed to be? Because I never took the time to think about it. I just always felt like we were supposed to be like together long term. And it sounds stupid, but it's like, how come I didn't think about marriage? You know? And she was just like, we're ruining what this is supposed to be. And so I'm going to back away to let you figure you out. And I remember like, okay, God, work on me. You know, I said, because I was like, I knew one thing is like, I gotta have the Lord, but I was like, for some reason, I cannot lose this hurt. And so it woke me up spiritually, man. And I remember him telling me, he said, son, it's not even about her. He said, until you get me back,
that's right.
He said, you can't have her. And you cannot have her, man. And so I remember like, okay, I'm getting my prayer life back.
That's right.
Church attendance went up to another level.
100%.
All of a sudden, I started being open on Wednesdays for Bible study. When at first I was only on Sundays, but a Bible study, I was there, and I was like, man, when is prayer meeting? I gotta be at prayer meeting.
That's right.
You know, and so, but the Lord just really captured my heart. I fell more in love with Him, and then I fell more in love with her.
Yes.
And I didn't think I could love to the depth of me and her love that we have. Again, I just thought like I would have to settle for something less, because I felt like after that last breakup, like God was just like, you know, I just felt like, oh, whatever it is, it's just going to have to be less, and I'll be okay with that. And so that God was like, man, I'm God. I'm God, man. Right. And so you need to recognize who I am again. Right. And so through He used my wife in our relationship as a tool just to show me the power of reconciliation.
Amen.
And so, and that was before we even got married. Wow. So when we came into marriage, it was like, man, let's get it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So yeah, so then we got back together. Oh, yeah.